Good morning. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for helping me welcome Co with today's announcements.
Good morning, St. Johnsbury Academy. Today is Tuesday, April 2nd, and today is a green day. Juniors, tomorrow during an advisory block, you will be having a class meeting in a Hula Hall. Please report directly to Hula Hall and sit your normal chapel seats by 7:55 a.m. Book club will meet tomorrow to discuss Entire Morgan Tally Knights of Living Reds. We'll meet by the library fireside at 5:30. If you have any question, please contact Mr. Dembski or email. Math team will meet today in a Severance 25 from 3:30 to 4:30 to begin practice for Trick Tigers competition that we are hoping to take at the end of April. Be there or be square. Happy birthday today to Brock Haggett. Happy birthday. Today for sports, Unified Basketball versus London Institute 3:30. That's it. Have a great day.
Thank you, Co. We do have one late announcement this morning. The robotics team traveled to the University of New Hampshire at Durham this weekend to compete in their last round of qualifying matches for the New England Championship. They demonstrated grit, intense offense and defensive strategies, and perseverance in order to make it to the finals of the weekend. Their teamwork, professionalism, and quick problem-solving skills allowed them to continue fighting despite cruel defense, a critical component unexpectedly reaching the end of its life cycle during a match, and bent mechanical parts. This team was 183rd out of 185 teams last year and are 122nd out of 185 teams this year, demonstrating an impressive level of growth. While they receive guidance from their coaches and mentors, this team's foundation is self-guided research, trial and error, and discovery. TechStorm 2523 embodies the Academy's motto, Semper Discens. Congratulations to all team members. Congratulations. Glasses on. Yesterday, we were treated to many things here in chapel, including an explanation of the science behind what we'll see on Monday's eclipse. What we are going to see Monday is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Our guest today is going to share a little about how eclipses have shaped our history. Please give a warm welcome to Mr. Eckhart, Chair of the Social Studies Department.
Good morning. Glasses. Do not wear these to see the eclipse. So yes, I'm not a science teacher. I know enough to know that you don't look at the eclipse without having glasses on. But what I didn't know is that eclipses have had a huge impact on human history throughout time. People have feared natural phenomenon throughout history. Think about things like earthquakes, volcanoes, destructive weather. But I would put eclipses at the top of the things that have made people be afraid, not feared, sorry. Different cultures see them differently. A whole lot of animals have been conjured up in different cultures throughout time. In Asia, the eclipse is seen as a dragon eating the sun. In Peru, it was a puma. Some Native Americans talk about a big, hungry bear coming up and eating the sun. And my personal favorite are the Vikings, who saw a pair of sky wolves eating the sun. So it's suffice to say, eclipses have been around for as long as humans have been around, and even longer than that. The first eclipse recorded in human history was recorded in Scotland. Anyone want to take a guess how long ago this was? 100 years? 200 years? 10,000? No. About 5,000 years ago, in the year 3,340 BCE, there's actually some stones that have carvings of the eclipse on them. Incredible. Eclipses have also ended wars. The Greek historian Herodotus, writing in the year 430 BCE, was writing about a battle between the Medes and the Lydians that had gone on for 6 years. And these two armies are sitting there battling out in the plains of the Middle East, fighting each other, and all of a sudden, an eclipse comes. And do you know what they did? They dropped their weapons, they stopped fighting, and it led to peace. So all things can be possible during an eclipse. Going back to some other parts of history, the Prophet Muhammad, the founder of Islam, there's a total solar eclipse that precedes his birth that's written about in the Quran. Again, a rich cultural history. One of your favorite people in history is probably Christopher Columbus. Yeah, we don't really honor him that much anymore, do we? So Columbus, on his third journey, is sitting there. His ships are so worm-filled and worm-eaten and just done. One of his biographers said that the ships are full of holes as honeycomb. So Columbus is sitting there. He's got his crew there on his third voyage. He's kind of running out of food. He's running out of supplies. Things aren't going well. He orders all of his men to you have to stay right here and camp with me. Danger's always present. One of his scouting parties trying to get food gets overpowered and killed by native peoples. Strangely, they were hostile to Columbus. Thank you, that was sarcasm. And then in January 1504, the crew actually mutinies against Columbus, and they go inside into the inland of the island of Jamaica. They start mocking the island residents. They start stealing provisions and commit, quote unquote, every possible excess. After weeks of this, the people got a little more hostile, as you can imagine, and tolerance gives way to contempt. Contempt gives way to hatred, and the trade of food that had been happening sparingly ceases. The Columbus's crew is facing starvation, but before the end beckons, Columbus recognizes that there's an astronomical event taking place. On March 1, he gathers the leaders of the local people and says, "The God who protects us will punish you. This very night the moon shall change her color and lose her light, and the testimony of evils which shall be sent on you from the skies." I know it's not very Italian sounding, but Columbus says that. The eclipse occurs, and they think he's a god. So those of you who hate Columbus, there's another reason why you cannot like Columbus. A little bit of literature for you. Do you know who Mark Twain is? Some of you have heard of the humorist and satirist Mark Twain. He actually, the protagonist of his story in the Connecticut Yankee King Arthur's Court, Hank Morgan, is knocked unconscious. The book's published in the 19th century, 1889, and he wakes up in 6th century England. Can you imagine going back that far in history, how different it would be, how crazy it would be? Twain writes about this, and of course Morgan recognizes that the eclipse is coming up. And because of this, he tricks the king into knowing that he controls both the sun and the moon. And the king says, "We will not execute you. Instead, we will pardon you." You can read this. However, for us, modern era people, probably the most significant eclipse occurred on May 29th, 1919. And this is such an important eclipse because it proves the theories of Einstein. You guys know who Einstein is? Theories of relativity. So during the eclipse in 1919, 2 astronomers take pictures of the stars near the sun, and these pictures prove that gravity warps space. And this proves that Einstein was right, making him probably the most famous scientist in the world today because of the eclipse. And just think, less than a week, you too will have a chance to observe the eclipse and add it to your own historical record. It's going to last over about 4 minutes in totality. It's going to stretch from the Mexican border to Indianapolis. 31.6 million people are going to see it. And an awful lot of people are coming here. Averages are going up from 75,000 to 150,000 to 200,000 people are coming to Vermont to see this eclipse. And it's in your backyard. So get out there, see it, because the next one doesn't take place until August 12th, 2045, and it'll be in the south. Enjoy the eclipse, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eckhart, and thanks to Mr. Buhner and members of the science department yesterday, mostly for the glasses on joke that I'm sure will run the gamut of chapel this week. So we do have one other guest who's joining us this morning. Please join me in welcoming Muzaffar Hussain, who's coming up to the stage to talk about Ramadan and the lessons that you might learn from Ramadan, even if you are not a follower of Islam. Muzaffar.
Hello and good morning. My name is Muzaffar Hussain and I'm here to discuss Ramadan. Ramadan is a holy month for Muslims all around the world when they fast from sundown to sunset. And while Ramadan is known as the month of fasting, that's only a part of it. Ramadan, in essence, is a month of rebirth, is a month of birth and rebirth. It's a month when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our God, brought down the Holy Quran to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. It's a month that the religion Islam itself was established. The month when Allah comes down to the lower heavens to witness the acts of worship towards him. It is the month when the devils are chained down so they do not distract the Muslims from their path to Allah. It's the month of peace, the month of tranquility, the month of cure, the month of goodness, the month of forgiveness, the month of discipline, the month of mercy, the month of attaining paradise, and the month of revelation. And as a great scholar says, it is a month of celebration of being a Muslim. And do you know how we celebrate it? We celebrate it by devoting ourselves to becoming even better Muslims. Imagine devoting yourself all year long to a religion, and then when the month comes to celebrate it, you dedicate yourself even more intensely to your faith. Ramadan is indeed a time when Muslims seek spiritual rejuvenation and growth. During Ramadan, we work towards bettering ourselves by strengthening our connection with the Almighty and asking for His forgiveness. During Ramadan, we do not only abstain from drinking food, but we also engage in increased prayer, recitation of the Quran, and acts of charity, in efforts to improve our character and behavior. But instead of going on and talking about what we as Muslims do in Ramadan, I want to talk about how Ramadan can be applicable to you. You see, nowadays, as a society, we live in an interesting time, a time where we're not only spiritually disconnected from the world, but physically. We have about 1 million different things that distract us from what really matters. We succumb to a technological marvel that was once used to help the world, but is now used to control us and keep us on a never-ending cycle of constant consumption, as if we were almost a gluttonous beast devouring anything that can give it the slightest bit of satisfaction. In today's fast-paced world, where materialism is frequently prioritized over spirituality, Ramadan can show the importance of self-reflection and self-control. Even if you do not practice even if you do not practice Islam, the teachings of Ramadan can still be meaningful to you and provide useful insight for self-improvement and overall health. So I would like you to consider this. Let this month of Ramadan serve as a reminder for you to change your daily routine and dedicate some time to something that will better yourself. It doesn't have to be something as extensive as fasting, but it could be something as small as setting aside a few minutes a day to reflect. Something that will free you from the burden of negative surroundings. And who knows, you might solidify it and turn it into a hobby that may very well change your life. My fellow peers, thank you for listening, and Ramadan Kareem. I would also like to add, this wasn't in the announcements today, but I collaborated with Mr. Weiss to host a Ramadan dinner at one of the freshman girls. Her name is Sajid, I think. Her mother is gonna host a Ramadan dinner for the school. There's a limited time. There's a limited spots. So if you want to join, talk to Mr. Weiss, and we'll be in this Thursday around 7 p.m. When the sun comes down. So if you're interested, talk to Mr. Weiss, and thank you.
Thank you. I'm always grateful for those moments when we, the collective we, are offered an opportunity to better understand fellow humans and their lived experiences. As you heard this morning, Ramadan is a time for self-reflection, for discipline, and for compassion. You heard that Ramadan exemplifies the values that we talk about regularly here, values we all embrace at St. Johnsbury Academy, like self-discipline, empathy, and unity. So as we have many times before, I will invite each of you to consider first what you might do in order to be more present in your daily life, more aligned with the shared humanity here and in the world. And next, what does our community need to do? We have a plethora of ways we can fill our eyes and ears with noise and distraction. And perhaps today, as you've just heard, there's a way to fill your heart with gratitude, kindness, and love, particularly for those who need it most. And I would offer you that we all, in our own ways, need it most. I hope you have a really lovely Tuesday. Faculty.